Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 454, Rance Howard Biography. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you by the folks over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Head over to Weavers and check it out. They've got the 2018 wall calendar. You want to check that out? You also got the Mayberry Union High pennant. There's Mayberry Sheriff's Badge. You got bumper stickers and stickers. Folks, head over to WeaversDepartmentStore.com and check out all that Weavers has to offer. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 454 is Larry Granger, one of our Patreon supporters over at Patreon. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for being here in Mayberry with us. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about Rance Howard. Now, for those that don't know, Rance passed away just recently. Today, as I record this, it's the 27th of November, and he passed away on the 25th. So it's fresh in our minds and in our hearts, but I wanted to bring you just a little bit about Rance, because that's something we try to do when folks pass away from the show. And granted, Rance was not on the show as a primary character very often on the Andy Griffith Show, but he definitely had a huge impact on all that is Mayberry, and he was just a good guy, very nice guy as well. So let me tell you just a little bit about him. Rance Howard, which I did not know, was born Harold Rance Beckenholt. I didn't know that. Back on November the 17th, 1928, not 2028, 1928 is when he was born. He is obviously he's an actor in film and television, and the father of actor Clint Howard and filmmaker Ranc Howard. He's the grandfather of actresses Bryce Dallas Howard and Paige Howard. You guys already knew that. So let me give you some information you might not know. Okay. So Rance, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize some of the films he appeared in. He appeared in many notable films like Cool Hand Luke back in 1967, Chinatown in 1974, Splash in 84, Ed Wood in 94. He had a thing for going for the fours right there for a little while, didn't he? Apollo 13 in 1995, Independence Day in 96, A Beautiful Mind in 2001, Cinderella Man in 2005, Frost Nixon in 2008, Nebraska in 2013, and Max Rose in 2016. He was born in Duncan, Oklahoma, the son of Ethel Cleo and Engel Beckenholt. He was a farmer. His dad was a farmer. He changed his name to Rance Howard when he became an actor. He studied at the University of Oklahoma. His professional acting career began in 1948 when he went to New York City. He auditioned and landed a job in the Children's Touring Company. The role that got him noticed nationally for television and film was playing the part of Lindstrom in the Touring Company of the play Mr. Roberts, who he was in it with Henry Fonda back in 1950. He portrayed a character for about a year and a half in major cities all across the United States and got noticed. Both Rance and his oldest son, Ron, who was 2 at the time, I didn't know this, made their feature film debut together in 1956 Western Frontier Woman. Later in the 50s, Rance's roles included his TV debut in the series Kraft Theater, which he appeared 3 times in 1956 through 57. After his son, Ron, went on to play Opie in the Andy Griffith Show in the early 1960s, Rance had guest parts in 5 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. He was known best for his role on television in 25 episodes of the 1960s TV series Gentle Ben. You guys have definitely seen Gentle Ben. Yeah, it just happened to have his son in it as well. His youngest son, Clint, was in that movie or in that TV series. Gentle Ben. I loved Gentle Ben when I was growing up. That was a great show. He portrayed a man, his character was Henry Boomhauer, a backwoodsman who befriended the family. Another well-known television role of Rance Howard was on Babylon 5, which was a science fiction television show, which I actually did watch. He played the role of David Sheridan. He was the father of the Babylon 5 captain, John Sheridan. He also starred in a short-lived 2000 TV series called Driving Me Crazy. His television guest appearances, I'm fixing to list off a few here that you may have heard of, include Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Kung Fu, The Waltons, CBS School Break Special, in 1986 episode that was called The Drug Knot was the name of it. Angel, he was in the series Angel, Seventh Heaven, Cold Case, That's So Raven, and 2 appearances on Seinfeld as 2 different characters. On The Waltons, Rance portrayed Mr. McLiver, I'm sure I'm not saying it right, in 5 different episodes, and one of those episodes included his son Ron as well. Yeah. He acted in many of his son's movies. We listed them off a little bit earlier, but here are some of them. Splash, Cocoon, Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Cinderella Man, and Frost and Nixon. He appeared in those. He appeared in over 100 films. 100. Not 99, but 100. Including 1967's Cool Hand Luke, The Music Man. He was in The Music Man in an uncredited role playing Oscar Jackson. And he appeared in many other films, 100 films all together. He also appeared as Dottie and Kit's father in A League of Their Own in 2013. He played Woody Grant's brother in the movie Nebraska. He often took parts as priests or ministers, country sheriffs or western marshals, and he made numerous appearances in films by Joe Dante. His final film was the role he played was that of Jasper, an Alzheimer's disease-stricken father in the 2017 film Broken Memories. Now, Ron actually commented on that role, saying that he thought it was one of the best pieces of work his dad had ever done. So he married his wife, Jean, back in 1949, and they were together until her death in September of 2000. His sons, as we mentioned, his children are Ron Howard and Clint Howard. He's also the grandfather of Bryce Dallas Howard. We see her in a lot of movies. She'll be in the upcoming Jurassic World, I believe is the next one, Jurassic Park movie. She'll be in that. And Paige Howard. His son Ron was born while he served 3 years in the United States Air Force. I didn't know that. In 2001, following the passing of his first wife, he married wife Judy Howard, and she passed away back in January of 2017, about 10 months before he passed. He passed away, Rance did, on November the 25th, 2017 in California. Wow. Guys, I tell you, Rance, I got to meet him one time. I'll tell you the story real quick, and then we'll move along here. But Rance was such a nice fellow. I got to go to Don Knotts' memorial service. After he had passed away, I was privileged to get to go to this service out in California. So I was there. I was standing around with David Browning, who does the Mayberry Deputy, and Jim Clark, standing around with him, them and their wives. And I looked over, and across the room, far in the distance, Rance was standing over there kind of by himself, just standing there. And I was like, I'm going to walk over there and speak to him. So I went over and just spoke to him and commented how much I thought that Ron, as he had aged, had come to look more like him. And he told a story that his wife, then his second wife, had been down in their kitchen area, and there were headshots, photographs, sitting on the kitchen table. And she was down there looking at them, and she kind of glanced over and she said, "Why have you got new headshots made? Why'd you get new ones?" And Rance looked over at her and said, That's not me. That's Ron. So as they got older, as Ron's getting older, he looks more like his father. And from everything I've seen, I think that's a compliment for Ranc Howard. I think he would enjoy the fact that he reminds people of his dad. Tell you, he's a great guy. He was a great person. I got to meet him just a little bit and speak to him some, but every report I ever heard about him from any of the other actors, cast members that know or knew him, he was always spoken of so highly. And wow, he did a pretty good job raising his sons. They've turned out to be pretty good men. And in the world of Hollywood, I think that's saying an awful lot. So Rance Howard, we completely salute you. You will be missed, but you will not be forgotten here in Mayberry. And just know that you're always right here in our hearts, and you'll live long in the town of Mayberry. All right, so we may have some more stuff with Rance Howard coming up. I'm checking on some information, some interviews and stuff that we might be able to pull into this podcast. If we can, we'll definitely have them, because Rance deserves some recognition. Folks, we are going to move now to This Week in Mayberry History.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by Special Correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
Jim Clark, the founder and head goober of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club, noted in the most recent edition of the e-bullet that actress Barbara Perry, a Mayberry veteran, had played the part of a gift shop employee earlier this year in an episode of the award-winning series Baskets. Jim noted that at the age of 94, Barbara was the most senior working actor among Mayberry alums. Jim is, not surprisingly, absolutely correct. But while Barbara is the oldest actively working, she is not the oldest to have worked. That honor goes to Connie Sawyer, who was born in Colorado on November the 27th, 1912, and who celebrated her 105th birthday this year. Connie is not actively working right now, but she had roles as recently as 2014 in 4 projects. She appeared in the film Lovesick, the short film Entanglement, and in 2 television series, New Girl and Ray Donovan. And she played these roles at the age of 101, just a few months before she turned 102. Connie appeared in the Andy Griffith Show only once, and not as a Mayberry resident. Near the end of the series in Season 8, when Andy discovered a newspaper clipping about Helen's past, Connie played Miss Blanchard of the Kansas City Chronicle, who was trying to find old clippings to answer Andy's concerns. While Connie was born in Colorado, her parents moved to Oakland, California when she was a child, which is where she grew up. She began performing when only 12. Her early career initially was in vaudeville, but she eventually, as she wrote of herself in a Playbill biographical note, had a show business career that had run the course of vaudeville, nightclubs, tent shows, theater, television, and radio. But her main work was as a stand-up comedian, though as she noted in a documentary, the term then was not stand-up, one just did a single. Determined to get to New York to try to work in comedy there, she bought a car for $500 and drove it across the country, paying her way by stopping and working periodically. It ended up taking her a year and a half. Her first television appearances in New York were in the earliest stages of the new medium, appearing in the late 1940s in the Milton Berle Show and the Jackie Gleason Show. She also performed in legitimate theater while making such periodic TV appearances, and performed on the Broadway stage several times. Among her Broadway roles, perhaps her most important was in the 1957 comedy A Hole in the Head. She, in essence, created the role in the play of Miss Wexler, which was then incorporated into the play by the playwright. When Frank Sinatra bought the rights to adapt the play as a film, The writer informed him that he had not written the part of Miss Wexler, played by Connie, telling Sinatra he would have to obtain the rights for that character directly from her. Sinatra instead cast her in what was her first film role, and it was Sinatra who later nominated her for membership in the Academy of Motion Pictures. Connie had a long career, appearing in TV series as varied as The Red Skelton Hour, to the FBI, to Good Times, to Starsky and Hutch, to Laverne and Shirley. She also appeared in a 1987 episode of Matlock and played the recurring character Rose Mama Klein, seen twice in Archie Bunker's Place. She also had small roles in many films, some of the latter of which are those for which she is best known. She played half of a documentary couple in When Harry Met Sally, and a little old lady in Dumb and Dumber, who, after being spoken to by Lloyd, Jim Carrey's character, in a patronizing manner, stole his belongings. That's it for this week. As always, thanks for listening, and remember to take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you for that report. And that was very interesting. It's something I didn't know. If you enjoy the stuff Randy does here on the podcast, you can pick up a daily dose of this by picking up Today in Mayberry History. Head over to facebook.com/the Gomer and Goober Pile Comic Book Literary Guild and sign up, and you'll get it every day. If you want to make sure you don't miss one, send an email to Randy at turnersgrade@gmail.com, and he'll make sure you get a notification every day about the publication of Today in Mayberry History. There it is. I found it. All right. So, folks, hey, it's almost Christmas time. Time is here. We've been having stuff about Weavers all year, but I wanted to bring up a few things that you might want to head over to Weavers and pick up. So don't miss out. Weavers Department Store is the only place you can get a Mayberry banner. So go and get you a banner. If you want to pin it, I should say, it's a pennant, to hang up like you won the national championship or something like that. Go over to Weavers and get it. You can get a sheriff's badge while you're there. There's several things at Weavers that only Weavers has. There's a Nip It in the Bud Nip It in the Bud bumper sticker for your car, if you still put bumper stickers on your car. And you also have these little stickers that go on, your cups and your phones and stuff that looks like the Mayberry Sheriff symbol on the side of the squad car. You can head over there and check those things out over at Weavers. There's all kinds of Mayberry books, including the Way Back to Mayberry by Joey Fan. Great book. It's all about the Mayberry Bible study, if you haven't ever had anything to do with that. Scott Hopkins' book on trivia. You guys like it, I know, here on the podcast, so go check that out. If you haven't read it, Mayberry 101 by Neil Brower. Great book. And also the Andy Griffith Show book by Jim Clark and the Aunt Bee's Cookbook by Jim Clark. And both of those are also by Ken Beck. I'm leaving Ken out. Sorry, Ken. They're actual books, by the way. You can actually pick them up. Some of you guys may not know about this, but they used to make these things called books that you could actually pick up and open and flip through. We still have those here at Weavers, and you can come and pick them up. Also got Opie's Slingshot. We got some Barney Fife lapel pins. There was discussion on the internet the other day about the lapel pins. Did they make good earrings? Well, I can't tell you for sure that they make good earrings, but then again, I can't tell you they don't. So I just don't know. So head over to Weavers and pick up some of the cool things they got over at Weavers. I know you'd enjoy it. Get them for your Mayberry fan. Get them for yourself. The Christmas is coming. Send your friends to Weavers so that they can buy you stuff at Weavers, because I know you want Mayberry stuff, right? And so where better to get it from here at Weavers Department Store. Folks, I want to thank you guys for being here. I again want to respect and honor Rance Howard. What a great person he's been for the Mayberry family. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415 and let me know what you think about the podcast, about the stuff over at Weavers, whatever you'd like to tell me. You can head over to twocairsnowaiting.com, click the contact button if you didn't get the phone number, and you can call me or write me. All kinds of contact information is there. All right, folks, have a great Mayberry week. Head over to Weavers and get your stuff, and And we'll see you next time right here on Two Chairs.